Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Patrick.
And
with
this
a
week...
special guest.
Yeah, we are joined by special guest.
What's up? I'm Pete. How's it going, folks?
Pete joins us from, I'll just say real quick, he joins us from the Resurrection Cast, Battlestar Galactica rewatch podcast. So
Correct.
It's a good show. I highly recommend it. I was on it. I was lucky enough to be on it a few times. So we'll plug all that at the end of the show. So
this is our second go around with Act 1. We had technical difficulties. There were gremlins in the electrical recordings of the first go around.
I apologize, guys. That's the silence. They're still trying to get me.
Damn it!
Regardless of where I go.
It's your fault.
But we'll keep it the same, pretty much as we did the first go around.
Yeah,
I love this movie. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Weapons look awesome. Armor fantastic. And in no way am I being sarcastic.
So like Patrick said, we had some audio problems, and this is our second attempt at Act 1. So,
fire and wind come from the sky, from the gods of the sky. But Crumb is your god. Crumb, and he lives in the earth. Once giants lived in the earth, Conan. And in the darkness of chaos, they fooled Crumb. And they took from him the enigma of steel. Crumb was angered, and the earth shook. And fire and wind struck down these giants, and they threw their bodies into the waters. But in their rage, the gods forgot the secret of steel and left it on the battlefield. And we who found it are just men. Not gods, not giants, just men. And the secret of steel has always carried with it a mystery. You must learn its riddle, Conan. You must learn its discipline. For no one in this world can you trust. Not men, not women, not beasts. This you can trust.
Pete, we'll throw it to you first.
Sure. My first point is definitely the forging of the sword in the beginning. It's a great way to start the movie. And as we were talking about on round one, it really kind of is an analogy for at least the first half of the movie of tempering Conan the same way his father makes the sword.
Yeah.
Just trying to wrap it all back.
I'm trying to think of, what did I say the first time in response to that?
I think I went next.
Okay.
And I was bitching about the foam-looking armor and weaponry, like the hammers. Like, everything looked like it was spray-painted gray.
Yeah.
Like, they grabbed some kids from, a local drama club and said, make it look like stone and metal.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, boss.
Well, I mean, we don't have to, rush through the, literally burn through all our points, one after the other. I definitely want to talk about the Pete's first point about the steel being a metaphor for the journey that Conan takes through this movie. He's tempered. I know we brought it up originally later on, but the wheel of pain that Conan is on is
is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called the Wheel of Pain.
Oh, I thought it was the Wheel of Grain.
About how that beats him into the weapon that he becomes. So I think, Patrick, you might have brought that up.
Yeah, and I just thought of something else.
Okay.
He literally goes from being hot to cold, like a piece of steel. He's forged in the heat, and then tempered in the cold, where he sort of grows and becomes the warrior that he's going to be. So it's like a literal temperature change.
Gotcha.
After he sort of gets out of his... Well, this is the part I was going to bring up, but I'll wait until the second act, because I got confused with when he meets the witch lady.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the witch in our first time.
She's second act, isn't she?
No.
Really?
No, because he runs into her before he meets Subutai.
Yeah, suit ties outside her clothes.
I was going off of my act break. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was when he cut the chain.
Gotcha.
So, but I guess I'll go into it then.
Sure.
She says that there was like a prophecy.
Yeah.
That this strong warrior would come from the north. Mm-hmm. But why was it so damn hot? And then when he goes south, it gets colder. That really confused me.
Well, if you think about it, I think where he is from is essentially, I think they say it's like
there's this bizarre
northern,
world.
like kind of in a northern Germany, like almost Scandinavia. So it's colder. He comes south, probably southeast, more into like the Gobi Desert, China, the Mongolian plains, that kind of area where it's going to be.
Okay, so as a kid, he was from the north, maybe. Okay,
yes.
Got it. That was really throwing me off. I was like, wait a second.
You're right.
Okay. I'm good now. Okay. This movie makes totally sense now.
Oh, good.
Everything's great.
Good. I definitely want to talk about that opening village raid because we talked about it before, and I definitely don't want to skim through it this time. Just how beautifully shot it is, and a lot of this movie, there's just no dialogue, and a lot of it there's no need to.
Well, I think James Earl Jones's eyes and wig say everything.
Yeah.
He's got creepy eyes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This character is just unnerving.
I really like him killing Conan's mother. That scene, he's just looking straight at the camera, and it almost looks like he's gonna tear up. Like, it's weird. It's like they make this connection.
Yeah.
And, even the look on her face is equally as haunting. And I think she realizes what's about to happen. She doesn't try to fight it, and he just whips around, and all of a sudden, her body goes lifeless as Conan's holding her hand, and it's a great, it's a great scene.
Having seen the whole thing now,
it
makes me think that he had snake charm eyes, kind of hypnotizing eyes or something.
I think so.
Because he's got power over people.
Yeah.
That we learn later.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, he tries to mesmerize Conan. So I didn't even consider that, but I think you're right that he was probably mesmerizing her.
Yeah, because at first you don't know that he's this weird wizard, snake guy.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that? I
didn't. Yeah.
I just thought he was some creepy dude with bug eyes.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that's definitely what they were going for. I don't know much about the original material, but I know kind of the legacy of Thulsa Doom just because they played Dungeons and Dragons for 25 years.
Okay.
And it definitely goes back into some of those evil undead sorcerer type stories.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't exactly like the way they portrayed the character here, but
right.
But you get the impression that he's some other ancient race that maybe was more powerful.
Sure.
Because he's over 1,000 years old.
That's what they say. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a legend or if he literally is.
Because he didn't look like he aged.
Yeah, but he could be drawing life force from who knows where.
Well, the cult around him, or the dark magics that he's practicing. Who knows?
Yeah, I read that the character was based on some old Conan villain, basically. And a mixture of that character and Jim Jones. It's a cult leader in the 70s, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that what it... Okay. So, I think that's the...
Jonestown.
Yeah. That's where they get the mesmerizing and the cult aspect of his character, so...
Interesting.
That would have been pretty fresh when they wrote this movie, though, so people definitely would have looked at it that way. That makes sense.
Okay. Pete, you have another point?
Well, yeah, my second point was the wheel, actually, which is, as I mentioned before, one of the things I always think of in this movie. It's a key part of that montage where we literally get to see Conan for the first time, and even Arnold, without much acting experience at this point, really drives it home. That first look he gives you of, oh, all right, I'm ready now, and that probably happens. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes into the movie.
Sure.
Yeah, because you watch kid version, teenage version, and then gigantic version.
Right.
So you see, this movie has at least 4 montages that I tracked.
Yeah.
But some of them actually serve a good purpose. Like
I think so. Yeah. I love the way the wheel's used. It's a great symbol. You know, he literally wears it around his neck throughout most of the remainder of the movie. And it's like, you know, we're saying with the forging of steel, it's Conan being forged and being made. And it's in a way, it's Thulsa Doom bringing about his own destruction because, you know, he enslaved Conan and the other kids from the village that they raided. They throw him on a wheel, or they probably, I don't know who, because it's not like he's grinding grain for Thulsa Doom, I'm assuming, but, you know, essentially he leads them to slavery.
It feels like it's like a pit stop.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's literally nothing else around there.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you think about it, it's like that's what leads him to become this strong, you know, unstoppable force, you know, that later on, you know, he seeks revenge. So
it is kind of weird though that there's no new children coming.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe it's like as Conan becomes stronger, he becomes more efficient, and they don't need other, like, he does the work of 10 men kind of thing. You know.
Well, you know what
part I thought was odd. I was like, how come there's not more people showing up? Like, it's just him and this guy with a whip.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's making me think of something that I hadn't have before. You know how later on Thulsa Doom's kind of explaining to him, like, oh, that must have happened when I was younger.
Yes.
I do things a lot differently now. Maybe that was part of it. It was like over the course of time while he's pushing the wheel, the cult changed and became, I don't want to use the term more peaceful, but maybe a little bit less warmongering, like they became more secretive. And you know.
That'll be one of my points later about Thulsa Doom, but
they said the Snake Tower started popping up all over the place recently.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of that secret society.
They went from being an army to organized religion, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably
so this is
accurate.
Basically an indictment on the Catholic Church is what I'm hearing.
Definitely, that's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah.
You hear that, Pope?
We're coming for you.
He'll snake charm us, though. We gotta watch out for it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hell now. Thanks a lot, everybody. Hope this podcast was
I'm going to take the sword analogy one step further. If anything, by smashing his village, Thulsa Doom is essentially mining up the ore that is Conan to start the whole process.
Yeah.
Then selling it off into slavery. Whereupon which the gladiators take it after it's tempered and sharpen it.
Yeah. I mean, it works. That forging analogy and metaphor is ever present throughout this whole movie. I want to talk about the cave scene. It's I think a beautiful scene. It works with the, you know, it might be a combination of the scene doesn't need dialogue, and with the added factor of maybe we don't want a lot of dialogue from Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, but the scene works with you know, just Conan by himself in this underground cave, as opposed to a above ground cave, I guess. No, Conan's running from these dogs. He hides out in this cave and finds this, you know, seemingly long dead king, and he believes this to be Crom, because what Conan knows of Crom is that he is a god. He's the god of their people. He lives underground, and he gave, or accidentally gave, you know, steel to the people. And Conan finds this king underground with this huge sword. So to Conan, you know, he found Crom. So it's just a really well done scene, and it works well with the music that throughout all this movie. The music is a standout.
And I don't think I realized that. I didn't know what Crom was until he explained it.
Right.
Later on.
Yeah.
That it was his god, because I think I missed it.
Sure.
In the beginning.
That's what his father was talking. Yeah. You know, telling him about.
Because I was like, why does he keep saying Crom? Like, to me, that just means Harry Potter.
It's Crom.
But I kept hearing
okay,
Crom.
Okay.
Like, I was like, At first, I thought it was like a expletive of some sort, like crumb.
Right, frack.
So it made a lot more sense once he explained to his friend his god, and then the other dude was talking about the wind gods or whatever, the 4 winds or whatever it was. 3 winds, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So I was glad they had that little explanation for those of us that didn't pay attention at the beginning.
Yeah, and then that's when Conan after he takes that sword, that's when he breaks his chains, and then I mentioned it earlier that a real nice subtle touch is the dogs that were chasing Conan later on in the next scene, show up as the fur clothing that Conan's wearing. So that was a really nice touch for me.
I just thought of something because it happened when he was still being trained, like in the sword.
Yeah.
The art of the sword. But they also show him reading.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what the payoff of that was. Because I thought he was going to be like some kind of diplomatic, like he was going to be able to.
Conan the diplomat.
Yeah, Conan the diplomat. But I thought it was like training him to be king or something.
Okay.
Like it was going to lead to something, but I can't quite figure out what the point of that was. Is it?
I think it's just to establish that Conan isn't just a barbarian. He's not just he's not all about the brawn. Like I think in the stories, he's meant to be, well read. He speaks different languages. He's very intelligent as well as very strong.
That did not come across.
Yeah. And
the way I...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. The way I kind of took it is maybe that was more like he was learning tactics and like the art of war kind of stuff. I mean, it may seem kind of cliche to put that there, but, if you pay attention, like he's like way out in the East training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guys that are training are definitely Asian. So I kind of took it along those lines that he was like learning like a Sun Tzu kind of thing. Like they were teaching him tactics, like maybe like military battle plans or just reading journals of old sword masters or something. I mean, I don't think they were making, really looking to teach him a lot of math or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like the narration mentions poetry.
Yeah.
And that might be part of it, though.
I definitely think you're probably onto something that I think he would be reading, a lot of different subjects. And
so he's general education major?
Yeah.
Okay.
Business.
Sports medicine.
I have a business degree.
Hey.
Son of a...
Did you train for it like this?
I did have a Taekwondo class.
Yeah.
There you go. Close enough.
Did they throw a naked woman into your cage?
Yeah, did you fight the piranha guy?
Yeah.
No, that was for the honors class.
Yeah.
That wasn't that smart.
Yeah.
That would have been disappointing if that was the day I skipped.
Yeah. Everyone gets a concubine.
Fighting day.
It's like, oh man.
It's concubine day every year.
Let's see what
I probably would have gotten thrown into Conan's. I'm like, be gentle, Conan.
At least you know he's going to put a fur on you first and be nice for like a minute.
He's a gentle lover.
That was ridiculous. It's like, oh, let me take care of you.
Yeah, it's a creepy scene just with the look on Arnold's face.
It's like,
it's a weird scene.
Cover you up and cradle you while I plow you in 2 seconds.
But for a moment, you can just lay here on the bed.
Yeah.
It's such a weird...
Well, and especially with the narration saying that, he was...
Bred with the finest stock.
Bred with the finest stock. Oh, man.
If that was the case, they should have had another lady like She-Conan.
Yeah.
Oh, I called the blonde lady She-Conan. I have no idea what her name is.
Oh, Valeria.
Yeah.
There you go.
To be fair, they don't say her name, so...
Yeah, I just needed to keep her straight, so I was like, She-Conan.
Yeah.
Do they really not ever say her name?
No.
Wow. How the hell do I know it then?
I guess they cut out a scene, more of an introduction scene with her where she does state her name, but...
You probably just had her poster in your room when you were younger.
I very well could have. That's very true. Well, again, it comes back to that, 25 years of playing D&D. If you think about it, a long time ago, there was not very many even remotely decent fantasy movies. I was stuck watching this and, like, Willow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to knock Willow. It's got its own set of action and adventure, but it does not hold up. There's a lot of green screen stuff that just doesn't do well these days.
Sure.
But now we got, Lord of the Rings and a million other great movies. So, I mean, I think that was part of my love of this movie was just being that into, like, fantasy-style stuff with, wizards and barbarians and everything like that.
Yeah, and I definitely like the way, the seriousness that they give this movie. It's not just... It's not cheesy, I mean, certain aspects of it are a little, I don't know.
No, at no point did I think it was like spoofy or cheesy or.
Yeah.
I mean, they took it seriously for what it was.
Right.
I mean, it was basically a period piece.
Yeah.
No, I think at times where, like, over the years I've, like, convinced, like, girlfriends to watch it, right? And they're, like, expecting it to be, like, just a fucking laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, if anything, they're like, oh, that was really violent, just because it is. It's brutally violent. But I can see how a lot of people would think that, because you see other early Conan movie, or other early Arnold movies, like, Hercules in New York or whatever, and it's just unwatchable laugh fest. It's like something Mystery Science Theater would parody or watch, Like, it's just not even remotely watchable.
Well, we just finished up Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, let's just say there's a lot of throwing of people in that movie.
A lot of Incredible Hulk TV show inspired, a lot of trampoline action where people would just be thrown. Like, there's not a single punch is ever thrown, but people just get hurled into the air.
So Swamp Thing's kill move is to grab you and just toss you?
Pretty much.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Either that or skull crush you by grabbing your head.
Right.
Well, I guess that's efficient. If you can throw people 30 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
But, where the hell did we go with that?
Okay, so coming off the backs of that, I can see how this would be way better.
Yeah. Trying to think of if there's anything else I necessarily want to bring up for this act. I guess we should definitely talk about I know, Pete, you mentioned it last time, the what is best in life.
Yes, to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and feel the lamentation of their women. It's brutal. It's part of him becoming Sword, though, to just, but I guess the best part we were talking about that, too, was how he was kind of on display for those people. Like, at that point, he was, I guess, famous in the gladiator circles. People wanted to meet him. This guy wanted to show off all the money and time and effort he put into training this guy into being unstoppable.
Yeah.
And we got to run this mantra of making sure that rape and killing people is all fine for him. That's Tuesday. This is the best stuff. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I definitely like that the montage that the gladiator scene takes us through. We talked about it before, how in his first match, he's thrown into the pit. He's, I think, kind of confused as to why he's there. And then all of a sudden he's attacked, and he's not fighting so much as he's surviving. Yeah. He's just, attacking this guy with just body blows and, just brute force.
I will say with the montage, I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
And probably because I'm into, like, sort of the RPG stuff, that he kept leveling up. Like, his armor kept getting better.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
It was kind of neat because he started with just a loincloth and gradually got all this armor and weaponry. And
I dig the little gauntlet that he wears on his arm that has like spikes, and he just like jabs it down into people and like cheese grater almost, like runs it along their
that was pretty
along them. Yeah, it's
like he's like a level 12 barbarian now.
That's his epic gear that he unlocked.
Yeah.
I've been playing too much Witcher 3.
Oh yeah.
I gotcha. I mean, it is kind of like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't want to invest money in guy that unless they're good, so it makes sense to see him getting upgrades.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to custom fit something to that gigantic human being. You're not going to survive.
Yeah. the freeing of Conan is, I'm not sure, is it just sympathy from his, I guess, owner? It's like the only guy that, like, he's been with on that wheel for like 15 years, and so this is the same redhead that was like kind of older than Conan as a boy. The
narrator confused me because I thought because he said, and my master was there too long, perhaps. So I thought he was the narrator at first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, I thought he was thinking, like, maybe at some point, like, he started admiring him and saw that he was not going to grow any further without the freedom to sort of set out on his own.
Maybe,
and I thought it was like a flashback storytelling thing. And it confused me when he said that because it made it sound like that guy was part of the, like, he was the narrator.
Oh, okay.
Like, part of that story.
Gotcha.
But
I just kind of took it as he'd become, like, you know, the equivalent World Series champion, and at this point, that guy was filthy rich and didn't know what else to do, and got drunk, maybe even felt a little bit guilty about how he'd made all this money, and decided, you know what, the best thing I can do is, like, just let this guy go.
Yeah,
just
let him
do his thing.
Yeah, I think I lean more that way. He definitely seemed drunk and just took had a momentary, like, pity on, because I don't know if it's like a brotherhood or like a father-son kind of relationship, but they've been together now for 15 years, and probably just, I guess he just felt bad, and maybe he didn't want, like, because he goes from being on display, maybe he was on an auction block, maybe he was about to be sold, and the guy didn't want, maybe he was just freeing him for that. I don't know. But,
yeah, I didn't know if it was like he bought his freedom, like, by winning so much.
Maybe.
But it didn't seem that way.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't seem like he was really necessarily sharing too much of the money, though.
Right.
The people were, like, throwing all, like, you'd see people throwing money and other random gold-painted objects and whatnot into the pit. But, like, I assume that all went to his owner.
Yeah.
I'm under the impression of that. He just won so much that guy didn't need anything else. We didn't know what else was going on there. I guess it would have been a little different if we saw him show up with, like, say, a wife, and he was like, "Look, Conan, I'm going to open a shop and just settle down.
Yeah.
You go do your thing, man."
Yeah.
I assume he's got a stock of Conan babies.
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, that could be it, too. I'm going to go train the next generation of killers you helped make.
Like 12 sons all on the wheel.
They're on the wheel right now.
It's feasible.
Yeah. I think we're...
How many years do you think he was with him? I mean, I get that he was on the wheel for 15 years, but how many years do you think they were touring the world, essentially, like, as a gladiator?
Maybe the last 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's no way to really track it.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before, I don't remember if it was in this recording or the previous recording, how he definitely appears to travel to Asia. So that could have been years spent, traveling or training with sword masters and all that. So,
or just the months it probably took them to walk there.
Yeah.
I was putting it at, like, just around 4 years or 5 years.
I don't know.
It was hard to tell because it seemed like they did cross a lot of territory, plus the years of training that would be needed to master different fighting styles, I guess, is what I was thinking. So he got his, like, yellow belt and decided to head out. But, I guess anything else for Act 1, Part 2?
I don't think so. Pete, you got anything else?
No, that was it for me, I think.
All right. Let's start Act 2.
Oh, crap, there is one more thing. I just don't understand what it led to with the sorceress lady.
Oh, sure. The
after
witch.
He's banging her and then throws her in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
And then she blows into, like, this beam of energy. Is she part of the sorcerer guy? Like,
I don't know if they're connected.
Does that have anything to do with anything that follows in this movie?
Not really. That is one moment that...
Because he says crumb again.
Yeah.
And I was like, did he just bang his god?
I think that's just him cursing.
Yeah. Right, yeah, he basically is saying, like, Jesus,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is just an
expletive.
Expletive, yeah. I don't know what the witch represents. I mean, she's definitely there as to give Conan the prophecy and to tell us about the hero from the north will become a king by his own hand. But other than that, there's no payoff really to this.
Yeah, I was
that scene.
Trying to figure out what that ball of light was going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just to establish that, oh, hey, by the way, this is a tale of sword and sorcery. There's going to be magic and shit in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be like a little softball to throw at you to let you know that...
That was not a softball.
Well, you know.
No. I'll give it this, though. At least some of the tricks of that still hold up. Because not in a special effect, and it still works. But the idea of just the way that they must have set off all the little explosives or whatever and just pulled everything down from, around the room. I think that would still hold up well today, even in a low-budget film.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have a ghost fly around the room or whatever.
Yeah, like I just watched it yesterday, and I think that for the most part holds up. The little her fireball trail, like once he goes outside her hut or whatever and sees it like flying off into the trees, like it's okay. Right. Yeah. It's not great, but special effects wise, it still works.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Yeah, I did not figure out what that.
Yeah, I don't know in the grand scheme. I don't know what this scene really means.
Maybe it was just the fact that, here's this demon, witch, succubus kind of thing. That's kind of how I took her. And then she sees who he is, and then she literally can't help but, let me sleep with him and get some of his strength and help him along his journey because this guy's got big shit to do.
Right. Well, and I guess it makes sense at the end of the first act, you need him to set out on a journey or at least know that there's a possible journey before him. He needs that prophecy. Okay. I guess.
He has no direction. He's just wandering at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
She gives him the name of that first town or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like Zamora or something like that. I don't know.
Sounds right. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into Act 2? And it's kind of right where Conan meets up with Subotai, and they go on a little quest together.
Was he chained to the wall?
Yeah, okay. Kind of outside of the witch's hut or whatever. I like how upfront he is about being a thief. Like, he introduces himself as thief and archer. Yeah. And a few times he says he's a thief, and it's like one of those things like, do you really go around telling people you're a thief?
I guess he was just trying to be honest. Yeah. And I wrote down, all right, thief and archer, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is chained up when you meet him, so there's not really an easy way for him to deny what he's been up to.
Yeah.
And maybe he's also interested in seeing whether or not Conan would be down for, hey, you want to go steal some shit?
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. We can get rich real quick, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't ready for a buddy comedy scene coming up where, they have a montage that lasts longer than I would have liked. But
yeah. I like Conan's line to Subutai's asking for food and says, I haven't eaten. And Conan's like, and who says you will?
That's a good. Yeah, that is a good line.
Yeah,
I bet that was said to Conan many times. He's like, upset.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, oh, it feels so good to say it to somebody else.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, we need the sidekick.
Yeah, and then not too long before we meet the next sidekick, Valeria. Yeah, Pete, you got any? What's your first point in Act 2?
I really enjoy the one scene that they have with, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the little vendor that they go to where they buy the Black Lotus, that's the director.
That's okay. I knew that Milius was in the movie as some kind of vendor, but I couldn't pick him out.
He's that guy, the Stygian.
Okay.
The best.
Yeah.
But he's also there to feed them the next little piece of the plot, too, about the cult. Like,
yeah.
I don't know anything except for the fact that they do A, B, and C.
Right.
How about two snakes coming together over a black sun? A magnificent standard.
The only snakes I know of are those of Set and those cursed towers. They have spread to every city. 2-3 years ago, it was just another snake cult. Now, everywhere. It is said that they are deceivers. They murder people in the night. I know nothing. Hey. Black Lotus. Stygian, the best.
This better not be Haga.
I would sell Haga to a slayer such as you.
I don't know why, but especially once I learned years later, that was the director, I thought that was even cooler.
Yeah.
Like, that's the perfect little spot you want to get in on. Oh, me? Yeah, I'll be the guy with the silly hat who just, comes in and gives the next little part of the omen, as it were.
And I guess we should say that throughout this, Conan is he's looking out for these little serpent symbols, and that's one of the parts that he talks about with the witch, that he's looking for it's called a standard, I guess, a symbol of two snakes with a sun and a moon. So that's kind of fueling this journey.
I think standard is just a term for like anything that's like like the symbol of the army or whatever. But he always says he's looking for two snakes. Yeah, and he always like puts his arms up like he's doing a gun show.
Yeah. The two snakes facing each other like this.
Which way to the beach? But I think this is probably one of my more favorite scenes. Was in the snake lair, when they climbed down to the basement. Yeah, and he was trying to steal the snake gem. I don't know what it had a name.
The Eye of the Serpent.
Eye of the Serpent. Yeah. And then I don't know. I got a flashback to like Raiders. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. And he like drops sweat onto the snake, and it reacts in its eye. Just seeing that was so cool to me.
It's a physical effect that holds up really well. That, for the most part, the snake still works really well.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the eye.
And the battle with the snake and everything.
Was that animatronic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all like metal skeleton with foam rubber outside. I think I want to say I read it cost like $20,000, and they made like two or three of them. One just as the majority of the action, but then one that he could hack the head off of, and so they made a couple different versions. And
one they can pump arrows into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I dig the serpent tower. It's this tower is like, it's an invader's dream, because as long as you can get a rope up to the top of it, the walls are extremely easy to scale, because they're like, ribbed or ridged or whatever, so it's easy to climb up. There's already ropes inside. Like, once you get to the top, there's ropes that go all the way to the bottom,
and not just ropes, pulleys.
Yeah, pulleys. And it's really easy to escape from once you
tie a guy to one end.
You basically trip that pulley, and it'll take you right to the top. So,
well, convenience. In Dungeons and Dragons, we call that the railroad adventure.
Yeah.
Exactly where you're supposed to go, and what do you know? There's convenient ways in and out, as long as you don't try to stick around and just kill everybody.
Right.
That's where we kind of meet the whatever her name is.
Valeria.
Valeria. And
Valeria.
I mean, right away I was like, okay, she's basically the female version of Conan. I thought she was like another sort of. I thought she was raised the same way.
Oh, okay. Well, I think she's meant to represent like an Amazon. Like, she's
okay, because she seemed. I mean, they also like sort of wore the same clothes.
Sure.
Like, they seem to be like almost like relatives of lifestyle.
Yeah.
They both seem very similar to me.
Well, maybe she was from the same place that he was, like a Sumerian or whatever, like whatever Scandinavian country it was that he was supposed to be from. Yeah. Maybe just a different corner.
Yeah. But I knew right then that they were going to be best friends.
Yeah. I really like her in this movie. She gives probably the best dialogue out of their group.
Oh,
and that's not hard to do, I don't think, but
no. I don't think Subutai was a big actor either. I've never seen that guy in anything else.
No, I watched the documentary Milius about the director of the movie, and he had done a surfing movie called Big Wednesday before this, and the guy that plays Subutai was his friend, and was in that in that movie Big Wednesday about surfing. So that's where he comes from, and they used him for the movie just because he was friends with the director. And then they overdubbed his voice because Jerry Lopez is the guy, and he couldn't get the right inflection, or they wanted him to sound, I think, very Asian, very stereotypical, Asian, Mongol, and he just couldn't get that voice down, so that's why they dubbed him. But
who would have thought the person that gets dubbed is Schwarzenegger?
Right.
It's Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay, well, no wonder I never saw that guy in anything else.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's done since then, but
hey, what?
He's fine.
He did just fine in this. Because again, a lot of this story is so well told that they have simple conversations, we get to know their characters, and then action leads us through most of the movie.
Right.
And he's there to back Conan up, that's for sure. He definitely puts plenty of arrows up over his shoulder and helps him out.
Yeah.
But I really like Valeria a lot as well, and maybe I'm a little bit biased just because we see her in like full-on Valkyrie outfit later, so I kind of picture her as like that warrior lady initially. But at the same time, she's also a thief.
Yeah.
Because she's breaking into a place on her own.
Yeah.
She loses cool points when I thought Conan bought her for the gem. Like when he rubs it over her hand, like all creepily. I thought he was paying her to do the deed with the gem. So I was like, oh, lady, come on. But yeah, that whole scene kind of weirded me out.
Yeah.
Oh, it kind of ties into the snake lair thief scene. How horrible are they at thieving if they stay in the city that they just stole this from to get drunk and party?
Well, then I get the sense that they would continue to thieve as a group, like, because they were definitely partying. I don't think for one night. I think this was like multiple nights of like they would go out, they'd steal stuff, they'd come back, they'd party at the tavern.
Not suspicious at all.
Yeah, at least that's the impression I got from.
Yeah, I don't know that they were necessarily in the exact same town either, but
that's true. They could have been traveling. Yeah.
And I don't know if they. I mean, I'm sure they probably were still up to a lot, but it seemed like they had quite a haul just from that one spot. So I mean, that alone probably would have been enough for them to then go on a week-long party across whatever that country was that they were in.
Yeah. Well, and definitely once they've been captured and they get taken before King Osric, and he offers them all the jewels that they can carry or whatever to go get his daughter, and the other two are definitely like, screw this, let's just take the money and run. Like we've got more than enough, to live off of, and
that scene's where I think in the previous recording I talked about the king saying that the throne room becomes a prison.
Oh yeah,
much like the cave throne room,
right?
With the mystery guy that could be Crumb.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that I definitely didn't see that in watching it, but yeah.
Because it oddly made me think of Goonies.
Okay.
With One-Eye Willie just in his ship.
Yeah.
Like this guy was just sitting in his throne. Like, just for whatever reason, nobody's going to know. But
right.
It was just an odd scene.
True.
To see a king just sitting in a throne, and that's where he died, and a couple of his followers.
I was waiting for some kind of booby trap. Yeah. Once Conan took the sword and like even his hand kind of turned and fell to the side, I was waiting for some kind of.
But his head just fell off.
Okay. Some crossbow bolts come out of the wall or something.
It's like I said, I was thinking of Raiders. So
yeah.
Where's that boulder?
Let's see. Who's got another point for Act 2?
Actually, I'll go with King Osric. Actually, I really enjoy that character in general. I can't think of the actor's name now, unfortunately.
That's Max von Sydow.
That's it, yeah. And he's just recently come back into the world of everything.
Yeah,
right?
He's all over the place.
In the new Star Wars, he's in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's enough. But anytime I hear that guy speak, though, I always think of Skyrim because he did a voice in that. I don't know if either of you guys played that or not.
Yeah.
But he was the actual king in that as well.
Okay.
Oh. Not that I hadn't always watched this movie years before I played Skyrim, but now, like, every time he speaks.
Yeah.
As we speak, my daughter travels east to Thulsa Doom and his mountain of power. She is to be his.
Steal my daughter back. Take all you can carry. There's more. There's much more. Enough to become kings yourself.
There comes a time, thief, when the jewels cease to sparkle, when the gold loses its luster, when the throne room becomes a prison, and all that is left is a father's love for his child.
We just did Flash Gordon, so he's, of course, Ming.
Yeah, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes. Ming. Oh, man. That's a good one, too. Oh, God. I don't want to get off track, but just that one shot where you see him, like, watching that TV, and he's got all those buttons that are labeled for, tornadoes and stuff like that. Like that.
Hot hail.
Hot hail.
That's the most villainous shot ever. Just that. I don't know.
You should check out our episode on Flash.
I definitely will. Yeah, 'cause I just randomly kind of cherry picked through some of the movies I love that you guys did.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely will. But yeah, King Osric, I just he's so powerful.
Yeah.
The minute he comes into play, and the fact that his desperation comes across, like, it is cheesy and over the top as he may seem. Like, if some other actor did this, like, he nails it. Like, you genuinely feel bad for this guy. He's desperate enough that instead of jailing these thieves, he's going to hire them.
Oh, right.
Because he's out of options.
Well, he even says, like, there's a point in time where the gems lose their luster.
Yeah.
And all that's left is a father's love for his daughter.
Yeah.
And
like, that's pretty cheesy dialogue, but he kills it.
Yeah, and you believe it. I mean, he looks pretty sad.
Yeah.
And sort of like, you can tell he's like a shell of the ruler he was, because I think there's other characters that say, oh, he was a great king. I think that voodoo guy in the Winds says something about him being a great ruler. Mm-hmm. But now with all these snake towers popping up, he's lost some of his sort of grasp on everything.
And maybe I play too much backstory to it, but I just assume that any man who got to the throne probably killed his way there. So at some point, I assume he was a badass, and that's why he's looking to outlandish adventurer types, go-getters, people who are actually going to go and get stuff done. As opposed to just sending some of his men, or I think he even says, like, he doesn't even know who's loyal to him anymore. He can't even, ensure that they would be able to get his daughter back, because he knows this cult is spread everywhere.
Yeah, you guys got a lot more out of Osric than I did.
He was old.
Sparkly
stones.
It's funny because to me this isn't one of my standout scenes.
Really?
I felt like Max von Sydow was just bored, which plays into his character of being trapped and feeling in a prison. So it kind of works, but
he's like, take all these stones. There's more where they came from.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe expected him to play a bigger role later in the movie. It's a weird, you only see him this one scene, and I just don't. It's fine. It's an okay scene. It just doesn't do much.
You don't look forward to it each time.
Yeah.
Now there's a deleted scene with him in it.
Oh, okay.
Where they actually his men kill him.
Oh.
But if you watch it, it's really cheesy. Like the blood comes, like this guy comes and stabs him, and there's blood packets going off or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a ridiculous amount, almost like a bad horror movie.
Nice.
And I'm sure that's why they didn't use it, because it just looks like garbage.
Yeah.
It's shortly after they leave, they cut back to them later on.
Okay.
And
I was gonna ask, yeah.
It's basically after they go there. I guess after the first time they make contact with Thulsa Doom's men, you're kind of led to believe that he then goes ahead and dispatches some word to go ahead and just murder the king.
Gotcha.
Because Conan's after him or whatever.
Huh.
It might be after he catches Conan, and then there's that scene. It would have still fit well in the movie, but I guess just they couldn't get it right. So
right. Okay.
They didn't go with it. So I feel like I mentioned that because I feel the same way. There should have been more of that guy, and there was, even just that one extra scene.
Yeah, I thought Conan was going to be taking over.
Yeah, I don't think it would have taken much to overthrow this guy, because I don't get the sense that this is a kingdom where it's his son that's going to take the throne. I think he
just had a daughter.
Whoever can be king of the mountain, or king of the what's the old game like?
Oh, King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. Yeah, there you go. Whoever's on top is now king. So.
Because just because I've seen bits and pieces, I thought he was going to become king of some kind of group.
Sure.
Like I thought he was, Conan the Conqueror and blah, blah, blah. So I thought this was his stepping stone into getting that was if he saved his daughter, he'd sort of inherit through the king's daughter the kingdom or something. But I guess it sort of went on its own path because at the end just shows him sitting on a throne. But that's another story.
Right. I love that. We'll get there. But yeah. I want to talk about...
I see what you mean, though. She could have been sitting next to him.
Oh, sure, yeah. So Conan goes by himself and heads to Thulsa Doom's Temple of Set is what it's... where Thulsa Doom is.
Yeah.
But the scene with Doom and Conan is... like Thulsa Doom is a fascinating character to me. And this is where you get that line that... I don't remember when we talked about it before, that Thulsa Doom isn't the same person that he was when he was younger. He doesn't care about the fact that he raided Conan's village, that he used to be on this hunt for steel, because he's moved past that and he's learned that flesh is stronger than steel, in that he shows his influence over people, and causing that girl to jump to her death. And
you killed my mother, you killed my father, you killed my people, you took my father's sword. It must have been when I was younger. There was a time, boy, when I searched for steel, and steel meant more to me than gold or jewels. The riddle of steel.
Yes. You know what it is, don't you, boy? Shall I tell you? It's the least I can do. Steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. Look around you. There, on the rocks. That beautiful girl. Come to me, my child.
I think it's a great example of like brain versus brawn in a way. It's showing that Thulsa Doom can destroy people with his words, whereas Conan only can rely on his strength and his power, that way. So
it's the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah, yeah. I love that scene though.
Was that?
I mean, as far as as far as having that any midpoint of a movie moment where our protagonist is down and out, this is top notch.
Yeah,
like the villain really gets to strut around, almost James Bond villain style. Just look at what I've done. You can't possibly stop me. The hubris. That's the word I'm looking for.
That is strength, boy. That is power. The strength and power of flesh. What is steel compared to the hand that wields it? Look at the strength of your body, the desire in your heart. I gave you this. Such a waste. Contemplate this on the tree of woe. Crucify him.
When you hit on something earlier about he's moved away from conquering people, and he's more about controlling people, with this cult mentality. And to him, it's nothing to chop someone's head off. He'd rather have a bunch of like acolyte, sycophantic worshipers. So it definitely moves from that warmongering aspect into more of a religious leader type position. So it's
I mean, they worship him like a god.
Yeah,
and he has real power in that. I mean, even the king can't oppose him anymore.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna give Arnold some credit for well, it was a weird scene, but taking the priest's robes.
Yeah, I love that scene.
It's like,
it's a good bit of acting by Arnold too.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's like, hey, let's go back behind this rock and you can check out my chest some more.
Yeah.
Wham! Your clothes are mine, and luckily they fit.
Yeah.
But he, went undercover. He did more spy work than James Bond.
Yeah. And then, of course, he instantly gets caught because he's flashing that serpent symbol around, and then gets the notice of his Thulsa Doom's 2 lieutenants. Yeah.
All that, and it's like, this dude's gigantic.
Yeah, he kind of sticks out.
All the other priests are spindly little twigs, and then you get this huge hulking priest.
Yeah.
Have you seen that guy before?
Yeah. But, hey, I'll give him credit for trying. Yeah, this is where he gets sentenced to the Tree of Woe.
Yes.
Which,
crucifixion.
Yeah. The vulture scene cracked me up.
Oh, really?
Where it was pecking at him, and then he just ate it. He attacked it. I was like, was it worth it?
I mean,
I thought he was going to try to eat it, but he bit it. I got confused.
He just bit through its neck.
He just killed it.
Yeah, but I thought he was going to try to eat it or something. Like, that's why he was letting it peck the shit out of him.
For some reason, I think I had a memory, or I thought he somehow got some kind of bone out of it and used it to pick, or somehow. Not that he was locked up, but I think I just remembered it wrong. But yeah, I forgot that he just killed it and then still was just hanging there.
But I like it when he loses his damn mind.
Yeah, that's great.
Arnold's laugh is frightening.
Yeah.
And his face, choice.
Crucifixion is a nasty way to go. I mean,
that's what I hear.
Yeah. Do you know how it works?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty crazy.
I couldn't tell. Was he tied to it? Or
no. There were nails through his wrists.
So that all got healed in the weird voodoo thing?
Yeah, must have.
Okay.
Yeah, because they drew circles around his hands. I do remember that.
Oh, that's right. They did.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of takes us to the end of the act.
And it kind of emphasizes that this is a fight against the Catholic Church.
I mean, crucifixion was around way longer than, any one religion. Like, it was a method of torture and death sentence for...
Yeah, we've been coming up with brutal shit forever.
Yeah. It's crazy because you die by asphyxiation for the most part. Your body just gives out and you just can't breathe.
So you can't support your...
your weight,
on your pretty heinous.
Yeah.
Well, there is one other part that I suppose is in the second act that I would point out to jump back to, and that is more the character whose name I never know, which is the narrator, the wizard guy. What does he have a name?
It's just a wizard. I think he's credited as wizard/narrator.
I mean, it kind of makes sense since he's telling the story that maybe we don't need to know his name.
Yeah. I love this guy, though.
God,
the guy that plays him is Mako.
Okay.
He's, I think I first saw him in Sidekicks with Jonathan Brandis and
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, he's like essentially he's his Mr. Miyagi.
Deep
you know? Yeah.
Okay.
I loved that movie as a kid because I wanted to be, You
wanted to be Chuck Norris's sidekick?
Yeah, exactly. Because especially as a kid, like you can't see yourself as Chuck Norris, but I can see myself. It's the same reason that Robin works in Batman. Kids can't see themselves as Batman, but they can sure as hell see themselves as his sidekick, Robin. That's why the character was created. So yeah, that's why I love that movie. And then later on, like he was the voice of Splinter in that CG Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that they did.
The new ones that are...
Not the brand new ones, but it came out in like 2007 or something like that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Mako. He's a cool dude. He I think passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He kills the narrator.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great from beat one. And I don't remember how I felt the first time I watched it, but I'm sure there was at least something in me that was like, oh shit, the narrator just showed up in this story? Like that. It's a little bit of a curveball. You don't always see that.
Yeah, I think the first time I watched it, I thought the narrator was Subotai. Because he's talking about my master, and assume that. I didn't. When the actual wizard narrator shows up, it really threw me by surprise. Just that it wasn't the same character, but kind of like he's like this crazy old wizard.
This old hermit living. What I gathered was
Dune Sea.
Yeah, and it was dangerous to live out there, but at the same time, like, he's practicing some questionable magic, so A, he probably doesn't want to be around people, and people probably don't want to be around him.
Right.
And B, he lived near that kind of, node of power or whatever, I feel like he lived there for a reason, even though they didn't get into it. He does some good comic relief in this as well.
Yeah, they definitely play him up as the kind of silly, I don't know if he's meant to be drunk or what.
I think he's just crazy old man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, but it works. He's kind of the comedic relief, and there's not much in this movie as far as comedy goes. But
I don't want to get off topic, but is he in Conan the Destroyer as well?
I think he is.
Okay.
I read that he came back for the sequel, but I can't remember him in the movie. But I think I tried to block out most of that movie. So
yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
it's not great.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any Act 2? Because basically they bring Conan back. They've got him all marked up with all these little symbols, and they're trying to do some kind of magic to bring him back.
See, I didn't even know he was dead. I thought he was just on the steps of death or something.
And maybe that's... I don't know that he is actually dead.
Okay.
I don't know if they say that specifically, but...
Because he's literally laughing before they find him.
Yeah.
So
he's delirious.
Yeah, so I thought he was still kind of there, but just not going to recover.
Right.
Right, he was in like a coma or something. Yeah, that's the way I took it too, was he was like right at the door of death.
Yeah.
So I think we're in Act 3.
Yep, where we have the
Spirit
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
I think he warns them that it's, a bad place to do this, like the land itself.
Yeah. Well, and he tells her that a price has to be paid. So Valeria says that I'll pay that price, obviously foreshadowing her fate. But
yeah, the greatest weapon in the movie. Taking her out.
Yeah.
But, this was kind of a chaotic scene.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't expecting what happened. I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
And it really kind of holds up. The spirits kind of, and its animation kind of at some degree. That they have all these spirits kind of wrestling over Conan's body. And
it's kind of cool. There for his soul or something?
I think so, yeah.
Essence or whatever.
Yeah, I think they're taking his soul to... I don't know, hell, wherever in this,
his god is from underground.
Yeah,
so
I don't know exactly what the purpose is or what their mission is, but I think they're trying to take his.
I think I thought of him as like Grim Reapers.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they represent. Yeah.
That's why I looked at it was they're the part of the natural order of the universe is you die and these things are going to pluck your soul out and bring you on to wherever.
Yeah.
And they're stopping that process with magic.
Right. They're cheating death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only way you can do that is, and granted the wizard doesn't really mention it in as much detail as he should have, like, are you sure? Because if you say, you're going to die.
Right.
Okay. As long as you're cool with that.
Yeah, you're trading one life for another.
Right, the devil's cool with that too. That's fine.
Yeah.
Although there is like a line that Conan has that kind of ties back into this, where it's probably one of her more emotional moments, where she said that essentially that she had been risking her life with nobody to know that.
Yeah.
Like she was meeting her death with no one to know that, and she hated that. But I think that's why she was so clingy to Conan.
Yeah.
Is that she finally found somebody that knew, or cared that she was going to face her death.
Right. Yeah, and she wants that hero's death, and I think up until now she would have just been throwing it away or something like that. So
it sort of ties back in.
Yeah.
Like it's not foreshadowing, but you can think back on that line.
Yeah.
Well, maybe just in the long term, although she had been out stealing and stuff, she wanted to be more than just a thief. She wanted to achieve that like Valkyrie warrior woman kind of state, which I mean, she definitely does, you know, but it's his story too. So of course, you know, we got to have a love interest, but I didn't think that they were really necessarily forced together. It was more just like they both lived pretty harsh lives. They had that in common.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of unfortunate that here at the end of her life, she finally meets that guy, and then he's worth dying for. It's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, like she kicks some ass. Like, because right after this, they go and they raid the Thulsa Doom's lair, and a lot of really good little fight scenes and the stealth kind of.
The weird war paint. Like...
Yeah, the camo, I don't know if I see the reason for that, but...
It made me think of Commando.
Yeah.
Give me back my daughter.
Yeah. Well, you would have thought they would have gone with, like, rubbing some dirt and, like, sort of mud.
Yeah.
Since everything around them is, like, rock.
Sure.
Right, yeah, that's...
I don't know. I could see some of the black... because it was oddly shaped, so it could be like sort of shadow, like in the crevices of rocks. Maybe
that's kind of what it was meant to be.
That's what they were going for, but yeah, it's bizarre.
At no point, because they were first like kind of underground and it was rocky and stuff, and then they were inside the temple. Yeah. So at no point does the camo really like.
It looks cool.
It looks cool, sure.
I'll give them that.
Yeah.
But they weren't going for war paint. They were going for camo. You're right. Yeah. At no point did they disappear into the background with the natural color they painted themselves. Yeah. And maybe that was just something that they didn't ever really get to edit together.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That actually was one of my talking points, though, which was it's literally written just as camouflage ?
Mine says camo is unnecessary.
Right. It's like,
I thought camo weirdly resembled snakes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like they're kind of wavy lines of blackness. I didn't know what like I thought it was war paint. I didn't think it was camo at all. Just because it didn't look like camo.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I guess they're getting pumped up.
This is it. We gotta paint our faces first, though, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
We gotta get real serious. Well, my next point actually comes just kind of with the scope of them coming in there, and you see, like, and obviously they spent a lot of the money building this big set.
Yeah.
But, like, the temple, it's just so screwed up in there once you get in there, and it's just like, oh, by the way, this is a cannibalistic orgy 24/7. This is what I do. I sit on my throne and just watch this all day. Like, the level of depravity and stuff in there, especially the first times I watched it as a kid.
Oh, sure.
It's pretty over the top. But I mean, even now, that's still pretty shocking. Like, if that popped up in a movie, people would be like, whoa, what's going on? Cannibal orgy. What the fuck?
I did not know that's what was going on.
Yeah, well, yeah, because in the underground area, they're preparing, like, this soup, basically.
Yeah.
And they carry that
the gruel
vat, up to the actual temple.
I thought that was his snack.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think the humans were...
No, because the lady, like, she comes and gets a ladle of it and then gets a hand and, like, takes a bite out of it.
Did she?
As she's carrying it down. Yeah, this is, like, these are all cannibals and
all right.
Yeah. It's weird, but visually it all works. Like, there's not too much to draw from this, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do have Thulsa Doom. He's just sitting on high watching the whole thing and
gradually turning into a
snake. Turns into a snake.
Which I was not expecting at all. I was like, because like they did the close-up. I'm like, oh, he's got like snake contacts.
Yeah.
Cool. I was like, his face is getting weird. Oh, there go his hands. I was like, oh, jeez. So this is where we're going.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he looked any... I thought he looked smaller than the big snake that Conan took down.
Yeah, he's definitely not meant to be that giant snake, but...
Because at first I was like, oh man, were they related?
No.
But then he talks about the one guy raising him from a little baby snake.
Yeah.
And I kept... His henchmen just looked like 80s hair metal guys.
Yeah.
It was weirding me out.
I don't know. I dig the scene just as an action scene. Like,
a lot happened.
Yeah, all three of them had like moments to shine. I wish that Subotai would have been playing up the archer aspect of it in this scene, like just taking dudes out left and right with the his bow. But I mean, regardless, it all works. And like I said, she's a badass in this moment. Like that later on when they're escaping, she does that move where she kind of runs up the wall and spins and attacks the guy. It's really well done as far as action goes.
Yeah, she definitely gets a body count while they're in there. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at no point does Conan or the other guy feel like they need to help her.
No.
Like she stands alone.
No, she's covering the exit while they're leaving, actually, because Conan's carrying the princess out, and she's the one, like, that's the scene you're describing. She stays back and kills, like, 3 or 4 more guys by herself.
Yeah.
Oddly, she's the strongest female we've had so far. I think.
In all of our movies? Yeah, probably.
I mean, by far. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
The Bond ones always end up by Bond.
You got Ripley, though. You guys watched Aliens. Ripley definitely kills it.
But we haven't done Aliens.
Oh.
We've done Alien.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would definitely give Valeria the edge over Ripley.
Because Ripley hasn't really done anything other than
survive. Yeah. My bad. Yeah, you're right. Alien, she just is the one who lives.
Yeah.
Dang, spoilers.
Yeah, sorry.
For a movie we've already covered.
I didn't know she was going to turn into a snake and defeat the aliens in the next one.
She gets a sword. It's crazy.
Right.
Man. But we do have the greatest weapon ever in the history of the world.
Oh, yeah?
That the sorcerer pulls out the snake.
Oh, go for it. Yeah. Yeah.
And turns it into an arrow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And I can only assume it's a poisonous snake. And it better be.
Probably, yeah.
But when they pull it out and it turns back into a normal snake, I'm like, genius.
It works pretty well. I mean...
I thought it was going to wiggle its way into her.
Oh, okay.
That would have been the only thing cooler.
Yeah.
But it was still awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's a good trick. Especially for 20 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only problem I have with it right here is that her death rattle, her death, her last moments, and she's been the kind of the standout performance-wise as far as the 3 of them, but it's her line delivery is really wooden and really cheesy. The dialogue that they give her is really bad, because she's just like, I'm cold, hold me and, keep me warm or something like that. So it's just really bad dialogue, but
she gets a little...
It's really out of character for her.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
It should have been something like, I'll see you in Valhalla, or, more of the leading into the Valkyrie aspect of it. But...
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I'll see you on the other side, warrior, something like that.
Yeah. Honored to fight with you or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Right, you were worth the price, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm really second-guessing myself now.
Yeah. When are you guys going to put the symbols on me and fight off my soul stealers?
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Conan's like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. Well, and then I think they even said, like, they try to get her the wizard, but there's no time or something like that. So.
Oh, I was going to say that kind of leads into my next spot where he does the reverse setup and pins up the princess to call them out. And at that point, he gets into his little montage where he actually stops and prays. Well, not montage, rather, but his little moment where he stops and prays.
Yeah, it's a nice little beat during the Home Alone montage. I like that they take a breath and let him have his moment with Crom.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought or why we died. No. All that matters is that 2 stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Oh man, Home Alone montage. Super Tight starts setting up the paint cans.
Yep. The micro machines on the floor to trip them up.
And I gotta say, this sort of leads into when they actually do the fighting.
Yeah.
But those punji sticks or whatever are pointing the wrong way. I don't know if it's because they want all these guys to fall into it.
Well, I think they know that the battle isn't just going to be a forward attack. It's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, but everyone's coming down that hill.
Yeah.
And the points are facing towards the good guys.
Oh.
Huh. So when they fall, they're falling on the safe side.
Oh, okay.
So
well, it's probably for the stunts and
yeah.
everything. They have to do it.
I was like, poor planning.
Yeah.
They should have impaled at least 50 guys on that thing by now.
Yeah.
Although they do a very good job of hiding behind rocks and killing all these guys that keep riding past them.
Yeah, he gets like 3 guys, I think, with the jump out from behind the rock and swing at the horseback.
How dumb are these guys? It's like, okay, we know not to go by this giant pile of horses and bodies.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I'm going to ride over there, guys. I'm going to see what's going on. Hang on.
Surely they won't do it 3 times.
Right. If I don't come back, just one of you guys ride over there in a minute.
Yeah. That scene where he hits the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
And then the thing whips around and impales him.
Oh.
That's what I thought. That's when I wrote down Home Alone.
Oh, okay. Nice.
This is pretty damn brutal, though.
Hell yeah.
I was like, oh, this isn't going to end well as soon as he saw the helmet just sitting there.
I forgot that it was setting up the spike, that trap. But yeah, it's really well done.
It was pretty advanced for on the fly like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think maybe that, I'm going to tie it back, maybe that goes back to all the stuff he learned and read about, like, as far as tactics and stuff go. It goes to show you that he's not just a brutal barbarian who would have just stepped out and started fighting everybody with, like, 2 swords or whatever. Instead, he sets up all these elaborate traps because he knows he's outnumbered and he's got to use the element of surprise because it's just him and Subutai, and the Lizard's there, too. For what it's worth, he gets his kill,
Yeah.
It is kind of weird they didn't take the high ground, though.
Yeah. Well, I guess with all the coverage of the stones, they probably figured that was still their best.
Yeah. It was kind of... I thought the battle in the lair was better.
Okay.
This needed to be the big showdown for him to fight the other 2 big guys,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like... I think it was kind of disappointing because it was a lot of the same death over and over where they jump out from the rock and just hit people off of horses.
Sure.
And aside from the swinging spike thing, I thought the first battle was better. Like it just seemed more epic. This one was more, I don't know.
I definitely think this battle was more just about, Conan versus the 2 guys, Thorgrim, and I don't remember what the other one's name is. Just because they were there at the start,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I just didn't think it was very realistic.
Okay.
Because it was a whole horde versus those 2 guys.
Well, and that's the whole point of praying to Crom, and proving that, I'll probably drop in the actual line here anyways, but, talking about there being 2 against many and, that it was a noble death kind of situation, so.
My tongue does not normally pray.
I have no tongue for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why they get the help from Valeria, who's now like a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Because they're worthy of it or something.
Yeah, I think I like the other one better because it's more tactical and like they had the element of surprise.
Yeah, okay.
This one was like, there's no way they should have won. There was too many people just falling down this hill into these sticks and getting hit by a guy jumping out and saying boo.
They should have worked on their horsemanship a little bit. As an army, as a group.
I was like, did I see this death?
It's probably one of those where they just had 7 cameras on the scene and they were just shooting it from every angle and
the editors got a hold of it and they're like, this looks like a different guy, right? Yeah, totally a different guy.
Yeah, the swinging spike sort of saved it.
Right. I definitely think to me, Conan going up against, I don't know what his name is, the guy with his father's sword, which I didn't realize until he broke it, that was, the sword that his father made. And for me, it kind of symbolizes that maybe Conan is stronger than steel. In this whole movie, they've been talking about how steel is, the ultimate symbol of power. So I wonder if it's, now Conan is the strongest thing there is, kind of.
I kind of go that way. I think there's also the part where maybe he had always kind of assumed that his father's blade was stronger than he himself could ever become.
Yeah.
And then we see him realize that, oh yeah, he's already surpassed that, and all this time he's been carrying a sword of better quality anyways.
Right.
Well, and it sort of marries the two theories, because the one theory is that flesh is stronger, the other is steel's the strongest, but it's really a combination of the both.
That's true,
because he mentions, like, is the steel any stronger than the person wielding it or something along those lines?
Yeah.
So it's like sort of a marriage of the flesh and the steel to make this super Conan barbarian warrior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't say that sword wouldn't do more damage with him wielding it than if I took it up. So if I took that thing, I'd be dragging it around, chopping off my foot.
Right. You're not breaking somebody else's sword clean in half.
But I do like that he keeps the remains with him, like he uses it later.
I thought he was just stoked that he cut his sword in half. I didn't know what was going on.
Badass. No one's going to believe it.
Because he holds it up like to the heavens. And
yeah.
That makes
at that point, it's more like a really broad machete for him at that point.
Yeah. It's a really big dagger.
He still makes use of it.
Oh yeah, and I think there's really not much else between breaking the sword and confronting Doom.
Yeah, that's definitely my last point on this fact.
Go for it, yeah.
Well, just how absolutely beautiful it is. Just the moment where he does, of course he pulls out his oldest trick, the first thing we see him do in the beginning, the enchantment, the snake charming.
My child, you have come to me, my son. For who now is your father if it is not me? Who gave you the will to live? I am the wellspring from which you flow. When I am gone, you will have never been. What will your world be without me? My son. My son.
I kind of feel like he does actually get him for a minute.
Oh yeah, he definitely does.
But then it changes over back into just pure violence that this movie's been. As he not only does he kill the guy, but he does it in such a perfect fashion. He does it in front of everyone, showing them that this guy was just a mortal man.
Right.
And I paid particular attention to the speech that he's giving them too, because at that point he's so pissed that he's lost the king's daughter that he's basically telling everyone, all right, we're going to take these torches and we're going to burn this entire fucking country. Like, I'm gathering that he's about to just go ahead and just make chaos. I mean, imagine if all these people just walked back into town and just started setting fires everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was pissed enough to just try to shoot her with a snake. Rather not let anyone have her.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
A second ally that showed up? I thought there were two guys helping Conan.
Well, there was the wizard and Subutai.
The wizard's the one. Yeah, he's the one who stopped that arrow.
Yeah. It was Subutai, yeah.
Okay.
Jumps in front of it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who jumped and blocked it with the shield.
That was Subutai.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the wizard's there too because he runs over and grabs the snake and like throws it or whatever.
Yeah, he has like 1 or 2 kills, I think.
Okay.
But
I was like, wait, where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like mostly bumbling around and falling over in his armor, like turtle style.
Okay. Turtle, yeah, he's on his back.
Basically, just more stuff to make Conan look like a badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's it's kind of a weird, like, he doesn't just chop off his head.
He hacks it off.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome.
It's so brutal, but it's great,
Because his mom's had just clean cut.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm going to hit you with the dull, ornate part of the sword.
I just love that he's holding his hair, and just hacking at the neck.
And he gave him a haircut, too. Because you can tell he chopped some of the hair off.
Yeah. Well, and just after that, just whipping the head down the stairs and just the thud as it rolls down it's great.
Oh, the people are running away from it.
Yeah.
As if it's going to do something to them. They're just like, oh God, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Don't let it touch me. Don't let it touch me.
It is kind of weird when he throws the fire.
I thought that too. I
was like, what the hell is that going to do?
Sets fire to the stone pyramid. Yeah, that
it didn't look like it went as planned because it bounced off the facade.
It definitely didn't get to the interior. It just went to the balcony.
Fall into another pile of fire?
Yeah. I don't...
You showed them, Conan.
Thought that was weird too.
But yeah, that whole scene.
I feel like there's a scene.
Oh, you can go.
Sorry, I was gonna say I feel like there's a little piece missing there where he kicks over a big barrel of oil at the top or something. We're just not seeing.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
It is weird to me that right after he takes off Thulsa Doom's head, I think he throws his father's sword away.
No, was it? Oh, I thought he threw his own sword.
I think he threw
Does he chop off his head with his dad's sword then?
Yeah, the broken one. That's what's so brutal about it.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a closure.
Could be.
Absolutely.
It could be, yeah.
That's the way I looked at it.
Its last job was to revenge.
Revenge
his maker.
He could have brought anything to do that with, but he brought that sword on purpose. And I think that's what makes it so brutal. He's got to hold his head and sit there and be like, what, this is hardly a sword anymore, but I'm just going to hack away.
Yeah.
It definitely tops off the violence of this movie. If you're expecting one last moment, because they don't have they don't have a big sword fight. They don't square off.
Right.
He just butchers him. And that's probably more of the reason why he had to have the big fight with those other guys right before this. The movie needed that big action beat at the end, because this is just a punctuation, really.
Yeah, and I
very definitive.
I like, Thulsa Doom's bit about he's his father, and it almost works on Conan, So he does hesitate for a beat.
Yeah, it did make me think of Star Wars though.
Oh, yeah, it's a little hard not to.
I was like, man, pigeonholed James Earl Jones much.
Always the dad, huh?
How many times is he going to be a horrible father?
I don't have anything else as far as the actual movie goes. Well, we get
him on the throne.
The teaser, man, what an unsubstantiated tease.
Yeah, no
Although, as recent as this, this last almost a year now, but sometime in January, Arnold Schwarzenegger confirmed that they're still working on Conan the Conqueror. So they're going to do the King Conan story sometime soon, which kind of works now that Arnold is old.
Yeah,
you can pull off the next movie.
It's going to be.
No, I mean...
Oh, no.
It's not the next one.
The next one's the Destroyer. Conan the Destroyer.
So he's not king yet?
No.
Okay, I assumed he was going to be king in the next one. Okay.
I mean, maybe. I don't recall. Maybe he starts out as a king, but I don't think he's, the king like he is at the end of
without saying any spoilers, the next one doesn't really. It's its own movie.
Yeah,
I'll say that. They made it a lot later, and I'm gonna assume I don't even think it was the same director. Maybe.
No, for sure.
Okay.
They've definitely confirmed that when they do Conan the Conqueror, it's going to be a sequel to Barbarian. It's not going to be a sequel to Destroyer. They've essentially they've wiped the slate clean, except for Conan the Barbarian will still be intact, and then the next one will be a sequel to it, not a.
Well, there's also the the unattached movie Red Sonja. I don't know if you guys are gonna watch that or not.
It's on our list. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't.
He plays a character identical to Conan, but for some reason they can't call him Conan.
Oh, okay.
And it's more her story, anyways. Sure. He's just kind of there for parts of it.
Okay.
It's not exceptional, but it's not the worst either.
Okay. Yeah,
but it's definitely tied into the whole Sumerian culture and everything. Like she's even closer to him than Valeria's character was.
Okay. Yeah, it's Brigitte Wilson.
Plays, yeah.
You know, this
she warrior.
She Conan. Yeah. But I haven't seen it, so I kind of was toying with should we do it? It's on our list, you know, but I don't know where I'm going to find a copy of Red Sonja.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might be for rent on iTunes or something. So
yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess let's do all of our wrap up stuff.
Okay.
We will start with just the what holds up, what doesn't hold up, and this can be broad like themes, or it can be special effects or whatever. So
I'm just gonna get mine out of the way. Doesn't hold up as the armor and swords in general for the most part, or not swords but weaponry.
Yeah, like during the battle type weapons and armor.
Everything just looks like foam. It looks like LARPing gear.
Okay,
so I'll just throw that out there and get it over with.
Cool. I mean, as far as like a theme goes, having the caged heat, throwing the woman into that's what I wrote down as throwing the woman into his little cage. Just, I don't know if you're making Conan today. Do you have that scene?
Probably not. Probably not.
It does make sense. I mean, if you had this warrior, you would want to breed him, I guess.
And we did that with how we treated slaves.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Oh, yeah. You know what? If you wrote a Conan novel today, I think you could include something like that because it wouldn't be so graphic. But the movie, no, I think you'd get some Twitter complaints for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe a meme or two. I don't know.
Right.
Something I found that doesn't hold up really is any time that they slip into the cartoon stuff. It unfortunately pulls me out. Like the sequences where the ghosts are showing up for him and stuff. I mean, it literally is cartoons. I get that that's the best they had at the time.
Sure.
But those are definitely a couple of things that pull me out of the element of the movie.
I guess they had to redo that sequence because the first attempt that they did, it looked almost identical to the spirits that show up at the end of Raiders once the arc is opened or whatever. So they felt they had to do something different. So that's how that came about.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Some of the, just the special effects, the physical effects of turning Thulsa Doom into the snake,
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty rough too.
I'm just going to say it doesn't really hold up, especially when his face is just pushing out. It's a really...
I cut some slack. I didn't think it was that bad, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no, like, Werewolf in London.
Sure.
But, I mean... I think I cut it slack because I saw how crappy the weapons and armor were. So I was like expecting it to just be a smash cut to a snake.
And that was my only physical effect that for me doesn't hold up.
And his arms went into his sleeves very nicely.
Yeah.
I mean, how did they pull that off? It's as if his arms just went backwards.
As far as what holds up, what do you got?
Oh, the soundtrack for sure.
Yeah.
To this day, we'll use that as background music for D&D all the time. It's a go-to. Nice. There's a couple of albums from various fantasy movies that I'll use, but this one for sure. Like if I know there's going to be a big battle that night, I'm queuing that one up on YouTube for sure.
Right on.
I'm going to go with the snake that they fight.
Yeah.
The big snake.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of my favorite action sequences.
Right on. For me, the sets here, like Thulsa Doom's, I guess the inside interior of his temple looks really good, but I was really blown away by the exterior sets. Thulsa Doom's like pyramid thing. Yeah. It wasn't just a pre-existing pyramid that I thought. When I was watching it, I thought this must have just something like a leftover from an older culture. But they actually built that out on the mountainside. Like, wow! It's 50 meters long. That has, I think it said like 120 some steps, and it's all concrete. And damn. I mean, they put a lot of money into that. And then I read that they destroyed it after they were done with it. Like,
that's weird.
Tore it down, burnt whatever was left. They burned the village that they created at the beginning. Like, they just destroyed all their sets for this. Yeah.
So nobody could reuse that?
Yeah. Jeez. I don't know.
That's weird.
But I just leave it there. That'd be great. Like, our town? Yeah, we still have the temple to set. Yeah, from Conan. Yeah. You want to go out there? It's a tourist site.
Right. It's the guy that did set design was Ron Cobb, who did Alien. So I'm really not surprised that how everything looks, because even the interior Doom's like layer and all that stuff, it looks good. You know, I was kind of comparing this to like, it could have been like Flash Gordon as far as sets go, and I'm really glad that it wasn't. So
I will say that there's like, I'm sort of jumping out of this, but I was kind of expecting more sword fighting in this movie than what we got.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of, because I thought this whole movie was based around like the sword.
Yeah.
It's so prevalent in the cover art of him holding the sword. So I thought it was like going to play I thought there was just going to be more sword battles, and I was kind of thrown off that there weren't.
That's fair.
Do you mean bigger body count, or just like him fighting various like dudes?
Like there would have been more guys. Clashing. There was barely any of that.
Yeah, none of his, aside from at the end when he's fighting the dude with his dad's sword. Yeah, I don't know that he is fighting anyone else.
It's mostly just him chopping people down.
yeah.
Like there's no like big sword battles, really.
Right. Yeah.
Like cling, like, and like sparks flying off the swords or something.
Huh. I think you get a little bit of that, I guess, kind of more with Valeria and Subutai, but you're right. Most of the time when anybody steps up to him, he just chops them right down, and they put up little to no resistance.
Yeah.
Thought it was going to be a little more Highlander sort of action.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Like sparks flying off the swords.
Yeah, I think the character Thulsa Doom still holds up too. I mean, a little bit of it is kind of cheesy, you know, some of his costumes and stuff. I agree, it's a little over the top, but just how he's portrayed, James Earl Jones, just I don't even know how much of the movie he's in. Probably not that much if you add it up like minute by minute, but he's by far the most powerful force in it.
Sure.
I will say what else doesn't hold up is the hair.
Yeah, his hair's pretty terrible.
The wig work is awful.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more on his portrayal, just how serious and the tone he keeps the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, he speaks up a little bit, I guess, you know, like when they're torturing Conan, he's a little angry. Right. And then at the end, he gives the big booming speech, and you're like, oh shit, this is like the first point where he's like really mad.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now?
He realizes that he can't control, you know, he doesn't know, even though he does have the I don't know, sorcery and mesmerizing ability, like he knows that all of his other people are dead. You know, he has no real control over Conan. So it's like that last little attempt that he tries to mesmerize Conan it's kind of a feeble last ditch effort.
Well, it made me think that he lost all his good warriors.
Oh yeah,
all he's got left for these priests and hippies.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Everybody else is pretty much done for.
Yeah. Let's jump into a most heroic.
I'll let Pete go because I have an obvious one.
Yeah, and I was really trying to find... Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I was trying to find something specifically heroic that Conan did, but again, a lot of what he did was just chop people down and, you know, punch camels and do drugs and steal stuff. So I mean,
he's the only one that cut him some slack.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. But he definitely didn't say you know, take a bullet for anybody at any point.
Yeah.
The only one that really stands out to me is going to be Valeria, you know, agreeing to the price of knowing that, you know, something terrible will happen to her.
Okay.
So I mean, in the end, obviously, it's the most sacrificial thing anyone could do. She truly loved him, and she saved his life.
Yeah. Right on. So
I think Conan's, I guess it's a hero moment, not necessarily heroic.
Sure.
Is now that I know that that's his dad's sword, like, sort of avenging,
meting out vengeance with
breaking the sword, using that sword then to kill the guy that killed his family.
Yeah.
It's not really heroic, but it's a hero building moment,
right?
Like, I guess, and it's got the scene where he's holding up both swords and all that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's his only real big ta-da moment.
Yeah, I mean, he rescues the princess, he carries her out
true.
of the temple, but my most heroic, I mean, I jokingly put down the stunt horses that had to do that final battle. They were taking falls left and right, like But my real most heroic moment, is the same scene. There's nothing more heroic than hacking the head off of your enemy, who had killed your parents with that sword. And
you know what it is? It's an anti-hero moment. That's what it is. Yeah. It's what would the Punisher do? Well, he's going to fucking kill you, but he's just in doing so.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming he just banged all the girls there to feel their lament.
Sure.
That's part of the training.
Yep.
But yeah, he's not a very likable guy.
No, I mean,
he's not your stereotypical hero.
No.
It's all vengeance. I mean, he is kind of broken up with Valeria.
Yeah.
A little bit, but even that scene, the other dude cries for him.
Yeah.
It's like, I cry because Conan cannot cry.
Yeah.
Or he won't or something. But even that's kind of a douche move.
What about Villainous?
You know what? Out of everything that happens, the one part that gets me the worst is in the beginning when they sink the dogs on his father.
Oh, okay.
Just because, his old man's killed a couple of guys, and then one dude gets him with an axe in the back, and instead of still trying to fight the guy, they're like, you know what, just let the dogs get him. It's such a brutal fucking death, and his family's watching it happen.
That's true, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with his speech, and he's saying that the flesh is stronger, and then he just tells that girl to come here.
Yeah, that's what I had too.
And she just falls into
the strength of flesh, is definitely the...
I was like, that's your Bond moment, right? Like your Bond villain moment.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up with some pros and cons.
And chopping off his mom's head wasn't cool.
That was my other one that I had also, but...
Just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
That was awesome. He's holding their hand, and then he just...
I know.
What?
Yeah, it's shot beautifully. It really is.
And he didn't cry.
No.
He's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Bogus, dude. I'm going to get huge and kill you one day with a bloody sword.
Yeah.
You get ripped.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
I tried to come up with one con. Okay. I'm gonna go with the overall length of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I feel like, it does feel long. It always feels long. Anytime I sit down to watch it, I'm like, all right, what am I? Better make a sandwich or something. I'm gonna have to settle in.
Well,
I don't know
so.
Yeah, I don't know what the running time is, or maybe it's just the way it's edited that makes it feel long.
A little over 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours and 9 minutes or something like that.
It shows.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
Yeah. Well, Oliver Stone's original script was 4 hours.
So 2 movies then? And that's what you should...
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine. I would have loved to have seen Oliver Stone make 10 of these. My God, that would have been great.
Yeah.
The world we'd live in. Maybe when they got so many Terminator movies, though, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but...
One of my cons is, I mentioned it earlier, Valeria's death rattle. Just because she was such a good character up until then, that having her go out with poorly delivered and dialogue that she shouldn't have had to say, it's just a low note for the character to go out on. I'm fine with the sacrifice and her death, and it needed to happen, but just the acting and the dialogue that she was given just really...
No, the dialogue was like that of a damsel in distress, you're right.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put my con as just, the lack of dialogue. At one point I wrote down, did this come out before the talkie? It was just all narration for like the first half of this movie. It felt like, and I was just like, okay, the music's at least decent, but I'm just like watching, and I'm like, maybe I'm just used to more dialogue in my movies, and it's hard to watch something that's so drastically different.
Yeah.
And I was confused in this movie. Oh, okay. Like, I didn't know what was going on sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, the crumb thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not, like, totally listening to that beginning part, I had no idea what was going on in the cave.
Right.
Like, why was this such a huge deal? Was the sword that great?
Right.
I didn't realize he thought that was his god.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot where I think this is a movie you got to watch a couple times. And even listening to you guys talk about it has clarified a lot of things that I didn't quite understand.
Oh, okay.
But I took that as a con because I'm like, this is kind of rough to try to figure out without anybody saying anything.
Yeah, if you just watched it on your own afterwards, you would have had to go to the wiki and be like, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah. Like, I didn't know that was his dad's sword that he chopped.
Okay.
Until now.
Yeah. I only recognized it because of the pommel, or, the crossguard and everything was just because they showed them making the sword at the beginning. It was like
it's stuff like that where they assume you paid attention, I guess, but I did not.
Yeah, because you see his mom making like the handle or whatever, right?
Okay.
But it's hard for me to say because I've seen this movie I don't even know how many times.
Right.
100 maybe. I'm not sure.
Because listening to you guys just made me realize all the things that I missed in this movie. I'm like, oh wow, that is pretty awesome.
I will say, like, as we talked about it, it seemed like you enjoyed more than I thought you enjoyed.
Because I was completely lost.
Yeah. Okay.
Watching this movie once for the first time.
Yeah. You might give it another go. Not tomorrow, but you might like.
I think this was enough.
Okay. Okay.
You'll remember it fonder.
Like you said, it's a long haul.
Sure.
But this conversation has helped warm me to this movie.
Okay.
Because before I was just like, what the hell's going on? What happened with his dad's sword? Like, there's a lot of open-ended things that I didn't quite get closure on.
Yeah. Should we jump into pros?
Yeah.
Arnold looks magnificent.
His glistening body.
It is impressive. Like, his body is, like, without that, you don't get that imposing. His stature makes this movie, kind of.
Sure.
I think that's why they went with him to begin with.
Yeah, sure. But it becomes believable that this guy could punch a camel. You know what I mean? Like, that seems so over the top. You're like, you know what, though? If he really did do that, I bet that thing might drop.
He probably read a book on how to punch a camel.
That's true.
Drop a camel in one blow.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hit some of your pros, Pete.
Well, I mean, I'm going to praise the soundtrack one more time.
Okay, yeah.
I know I keep doing that, but I mean, it not only does it hold up, but it really does drive the movie. A good soundtrack will do anything for me, really. Use my new cliche example, but like Battlestar is the same way with all those drums. Like, it really drives the drama.
Oh, yeah.
And this does the same thing even in the beginning. The whole movie, really. The other piece I really dug is the way that they weave the narrator into the story. I know I mentioned that earlier, but that's always going to be a pro for me.
Right on.
As soon as I hear that guy start speaking in the beginning, I get excited.
It suits the movie really well, like, because he even says at the beginning it's, a tale of high adventure, and I don't know, just the way he does tell it is like he's telling a story, not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, heads up, we're about to go into a fantasy story, so don't balk at the idea of wizardry or anything else.
Right.
And then as we learn later that, he's one of the crazier characters himself.
All right, Patrick?
I already talked about his muscles. No. I did enjoy, like, they used what they could well, in the sense that they used the sort of desolate landscapes to their advantage. Because I thought it looked really well. Like, aside from the opening scene where he was talking with his dad and the weird...
Sure. The clouds.
Like, green screen clouds, or whatever it was. It looked like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Where it's like they used empty, desolate space well, and it's a cheap way to get across, sort of an epic tale, because you get this expansive, you don't have to spend a lot of money to go shoot in a desert.
Where did they shoot this movie? Did you look that up? I didn't.
Yeah, it was all shot in Spain.
Well, maybe they did have to spend a lot of money then.
I guess there's high enough areas where they were able to shoot the snowy, the village scene in the beginning, and then, but some of that was like they said it was marble shavings was made up some of the snow. Yeah,
That seems insanely expensive.
I don't know. Maybe marble is really abundant over there, but I don't know.
There's just piles of.
Yeah, I was surprised by reading marble shavings made up a lot of the snow.
Well, I take back my comment. That's a waste of money.
But then there's
was the sand just like gold shavings?
Yeah.
Good lord.
All the fires in this movie are just piles of money.
Yeah, nothing burns like money.
Good lord, I did not know that. I never knew that was even a thing.
It's probably like in the process of carving marble, like for anything from counter.
Oh, I gotcha. This is the leftover.
Probably just the excess that it's going to be thrown away or whatever, anyways. So they probably got it that way.
It just seems like a rough way to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the explanation for it, but
Travis, you just blew my mind.
Yeah, right on. Well, I'm going to jump in with one of my pros, just being the seriousness that everything is given. Because, like I said earlier, this could have been cheesy. I mean, and this is a movie with a guy that turns into a snake, But as I was watching it this time, I was like, this could have easily been Flash Gordon again, with poor direction and with cheap sets. This really could have been.
It would have had a different legacy.
Yeah. But
I did call that guy King Cobra.
Yeah. Everything though, from like the sets and cinematography, like it looks good. It looks epic. It's sweeping. They get really good cinematography. I mean, like you said, the music, like everything holds up. As far as the production of it goes, we get some questionable dialogue from Conan or just delivery, but yeah, I'm just lumping all of my pros into they crafted a really good movie. They just had all the right elements, I think. So,
yeah, I'd say so. Especially for the time, because again, like trying to think of other fantasy movies that came out in the 80s, like Krull and Willow and stuff that were just goofy,
Yeah.
Or like we only had the Hobbit cartoons back then; those were a tough watch.
Sure, yeah.
You had Star Wars.
You did, but that didn't scratch my fantasy itch. That scratched my sci-fi itch.
So,
but again, that's just me being a little D&D nerd as a kid and as an adult.
Well, without this movie, we would not have the He-Man Master of the Universe franchise.
Probably, yeah.
No, I mean, literally, the toys were made for this movie. But once the movie was released, they realized this is not for kids. So they had all of these toys, and they were like, we got to do something with them. Let's make some different heads. That's why all the He-Man, like all the characters, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, all those guys have the same body. Because those were Conan toys. They put different heads on them, they paint them different, and then that became the Masters of the Universe, that became the groundwork for all of that. So, if you loved that stuff as a kid in the, growing up with that comes from Conan. It comes from this movie, so.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Now you're blowing my mind. After the marble shavings was where it was going to end. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, because they had the figures, and the cartoon was just a commercial to sell the toys.
I knew that part.
And then everything else was built off of that. Wow. So, yeah, that blew my mind when I first learned that. But
I'm pretty sure I actually had that He-Man sword when I was a kid, so I'm trying to remember a little more what it
was.
Sword's
definitely different.
I had the He-Man sword and the Thundercat sword, the Eye of Thundera.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Those are the two big swords you had to have.
Oh, yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about this. Let's hit some overall thoughts and give it a rating.
God, mine's messed up now. Because I watched it, but apparently I needed to watch it twice apparently it was somebody that knew what the hell was going on. Because originally I was coming into this with like a 2.
Wow.
Like, I just did not like it. Like,
Yeah.
Not being able to catch all those things.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I didn't realize that was his dad's sword.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was, he thought that was like God. Like, I missed a lot of big things just watching it.
Yeah.
So, like, pre this conversation, I was going 2.
Wow.
But after talking it out and realizing what I watched, I'll probably give it closer to like a 3.5.
Nice.
Because, like, apparently this needed to come with, like, Cliff's Notes.
Okay.
Because that makes the movie a lot better. I just thought it set up a lot to not deliver on anything.
Okay.
Because not knowing those things
Yeah.
really makes this movie kind of pointless. Like, I'm like,
a lot of build up but no payoff.
yeah.
Okay.
So now that I know all this, I'm like, damn, it wasn't that bad.
Okay. So 3.5.
You just need the rough guide to Samaria to help you out.
Yeah, we'll cut it in the middle. We'll do a 3.0 to be fair. Because I was going lowballing on this one.
If we talked a whole point out of you, I think that's worth it.
Yeah. How about you, Pete?
Well, I'm definitely pretty biased, but I'm not outlandish to go way over the top and just immediately throw 5 stars, because I can't. Again, it's too long, and it's dated, not badly, but it is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it 4.
I assume he was going with 10 out of 5.
Damn, give it 10.
It was the Citizen Kane of our generation.
I mean, it holds up. I own it on DVD, you know, like, I wouldn't have bought it. Although it is kind of a cheap version, because the flip side has Conan the Destroyer on it. But I own it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Did it come in like a combo pack?
Yeah, it's like the front of the movie is like basically both covers like just kind of spliced together. It definitely looks like it was made like way later on.
Yeah, I got a PCU Airheads DVD.
Whoa.
One side's PCU, one side's Airheads. Don't ask
Hell
me
of a combo. PCU, damn.
Yeah.
Is that Jeremy Piven?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Back when he was balding and now he's got hair.
Yeah.
Right. It's amazing how that worked.
He was like a 40-year-old college student.
Right. Jon Favreau?
Yeah.
With dreadlocks.
That is my favorite quote of that movie is "Blow me where the Pampers is," because he's high, and the old lady's like, "Can you show me where the campus is?"
Oh,
and he hears, "Can you blow me where the Pampers is?"
What?
Yes. Wow. Just blew everyone's mind with that awesome knowledge of PCU.
Good job.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Just I'm sure you can like YouTube that scene just by itself.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
I wouldn't recommend typing in "blow me where the Pampers is," but
I don't know.
Why?
You're gonna get some weird results. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go straight to Google, type that in, and click "I'm feeling lucky" and see what happens.
Yeah. Wow.
You are playing Russian roulette, buddy. So what did you give it, Travis?
I actually gave it. I gave it a 4.25. I think the first time I ever watched it, I was really blown away by how much I liked it, how good it was, because I just thought it was, like the Kevin Sorbo Hercules show, or, just the very, sword and sorcery, sword and sandal type movie that. I didn't expect it to have any depth,
How dare you? Kevin Sorbo is a genius.
But, I mean, and rewatching it for this, like, it still holds up for me, I don't have much to say against it, so, yeah, I gave it a 4.25, so all told, that's a 3.75 for Conan the Barbarian.
And that's a solid movie, because didn't it get like a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah,
so
with a 40% critic rating and 70% audience rating, yeah.
And, I mean, as a movie, it's got some rough spots, but, I mean, like Pete was saying, it's a sort of a trailblazer of sorts for fantasy movies.
Yeah.
Which I was unaware of it to this point.
Right.
Because I'm trying to think, the only other fantasy movies out there... Like
there
maybe
was
Wizard of Oz or something?
There was like Beastmaster that came after, or same year as this. And,
oh, yeah. It's definitely, rated R as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that you really got to look at, too. Like, I can't, as much as I want to compare it to Willow, which I just keep saying because it was on the shelf next to it when I pulled it down the other, I thought about watching Willow as well, but I didn't want to get too drawn up.
What kind of savage organization
away from this movie
next to Willow?
They belong next to each other, I suppose. But
Conan, you'll love.
But like that's a kids movie,
Sure.
So there's only I don't know if it's PG-13 or even G for that matter, but like no one's getting their head cut off by a broken sword, for example.
Yeah.
So like this definitely took things in that direction.
Okay, yeah. I rewatched Willow probably 6 months ago because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
There was and it, for the most part, it really holds up. I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, it gets me the same way this movie does. Just like some of the magic and stuff is just too cheesy.
Yeah.
But the characters are great.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that movie.
The music is really strong in that one too.
Yeah, well, that's John Williams, isn't it?
I think so.
I know George Lucas wrote it, but then he gave it to Ron Howard, who that might have been his first movie?
Could have been. I can't remember, because I think I would assume that it was John Williams, but I'm not 100%. I think it might be, but...
Yeah, I'm probably assuming on that. But I feel like if George Lucas is handing you a movie, he's going to also hand you John Williams' phone number, right? Like, that comes with it.
Yeah.
White Raiders of the Lost Ark, hand to Spielberg, give him John Williams.
Yeah.
Boom. Worked over and over. Why not?
John Williams is a nice safety net to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever hurt a movie, so.
Oh, no. Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called Epic Rap Battles.
You're right.
And there's one where they have Spielberg versus Hitchcock.
Okay.
And Hitchcock says, you better send your millions to John Williams, because without him, he'd be nothing kind of thing.
Oh, wow. So. Nice.
And I was like, wow, that is kind of true.
Yeah.
You owe a lot to John Williams.
Cutting him deep on this rap battle.
Yeah.
That's right. So, yeah, I guess overall it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Apparently I was wrong.
I'm glad we were able to kind of shift your perception a little bit.
I should note that Travis is holding a gun to me.
Yeah. Now say the
You actually have a one written down.
Right.
It's like, love it. No, yeah, you guys enlightened me on the nuances that I missed.
Good. So I guess on that we should probably wrap things up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I should plug again since...
Yeah, I was going to...
everything got screwed up earlier.
Yeah, unfortunately, all that first stuff got cut off, but I still think we had a good
That's all right. So, I belong to another podcast called, which is an IntroCast for Battlestar Galactica. It's my version viewing along with a girl named Melanie, guided by our commander, Courtney. All started out of a random conversation in a backyard based off of the Potential cast, the Buffy cast, which Courtney was really madly in love with. I know Courtney, like we live in the same city. And anyhow, long story short, you can go to look up Resurrection Cast on iTunes or resurrectioncast.blogspot.com and listen to us dig through hours of trying to figure out the plot to Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's great because as a listener, like it was fun to rewatch Battlestar and then go along with you guys, and especially just some of the theories that you and Melanie had at the start, like who was a Cylon, who was Starbuck, that kind of stuff. It was really fun to listen along, and I was lucky enough to be on 3 episodes with you guys, and extremely lucky to be on the finale. So I got to be there at the very end. So
the upcoming finale.
The upcoming finale, yeah.
So in a way,
yes. As soon as you listen to the show and realize how long the episodes are, you realize why it takes so long.
Oh yeah.
Gets them edited.
Yeah, I feel like that
last
session was like 6 hours.
Probably.
So.
There was a couple. I know I'm going to say season 3, which has some big stuff at the end. That one we recorded in 2 sessions. Like that was probably the most conversation ever. The biggest reveal, I suppose. I'll just leave it like that, so it's not spoil anyone. But there's some big stuff that goes down there, and that one I had a lot to say. But if you have hours to kill and you love Battlestar Galactica, this is the podcast for you. can watch me and Melanie roast over the fire on the spit of trying to figure out the show. And I must say, it really was just the best extent of my willpower ever to not just click next. Because it was all on Netflix at the time when we started it, so I would, every time it's to be continued, and if you don't stop Netflix, it's rolling right in. I'm like, no, don't even watch the intro. Just wait 2 weeks.
And we've got Melanie's coming up. I think she won't be joining us for a while.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
For a little while.
I feel obligated to come back for the Destroyer now, though. Even though I don't want to, I feel like I have to.
Yeah, you're definitely more than welcome to come back on. That's 84, so we should get to that. And I don't know how many movies are between now and then, but
okay.
But yeah, you're more than welcome to come back on for that one. And I know Courtney's coming on for, I think, Howard the Duck. And she wants to do a lot of Terminator, but she wanted to pick one that was like, definitely going to be a lower,
Whoa, what?
A Terminator. I was talking about Terminator, not...
Howard the Duck is one of the greatest superheroes in the, what is it, DC or Marvel? I can't remember.
Yeah, he's Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when I heard that. I had no idea he was in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That's them digging. They're digging way down in the logs now. Yeah. Then they might as well. Shit. Doctor Strange is like the 13th or 14th movie they've put out in a row.
Yep.
Might as well have Howard the Duck show up. Who cares? Yeah. Just do it.
I did not realize that Lucas started that Marvel universe with Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
It all started with Howard the Duck.
That's true. We'll see how that pans out.
Well, Courtney's a good pick for Terminator. She's definitely got some Sarah Connor style tendencies. She's definitely she can kick my ass. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Courtney's awesome. That's why I thought it was good that she led us through Battlestar too. Once we got into it, and like she was in the Air Force and had worked with pilots and stuff. I don't think you could find somebody who'd done a closer job.
Yeah, she brought a lot of insight to that show. So,
which helped with our endless amount of questions.
Yeah.
So basically, you guys just badger her.
For what little info she'll give us, she was really good. I mean, we lucked out. I can't think of too many things that I got spoiled on. I think somebody gave away a character name once, but
pretty good.
Nothing
to do that.
Nothing like blah blah blah's a sideline like months before I got there, nothing like that. So that was the tough part too. Was anytime I'd have questions, I dared not ever ask Google anything.
Yeah.
Because I always expected the first article to come up to be like, that one time we all found out blah 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 was a sideline.
Right.
That like shocked the nation. Now, people have no respect for spoilers online. That's just unfortunately how it is.
Yeah.
We still live in that day and age now. It's even worse.
Okay, so let's wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah. You can find us everywhere online at Real Comic Heroes. We will return with Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. So, Pete, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Cool, yeah. Thanks.
Nice to meet you as well, Patrick.
Yep. Likewise. All right.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here, and...
until next time.
Yeah, until next time.
This is what it has come to.
Look! Out there! They're coming back! Come on! Move it!
Here is where it shall be decided.
There it is. Greetings from the Humongous.
In a world without gas.
The Humongous rules the wasteland.
I'm gravely disappointed that you wish to take the gasoline out of the wasteland.
Defend the fuel.
We'll never walk away!
Give me the pump, the gasoline, the whole compound.
This is a land that prays for a hero.
Well, if anyone's gonna get in there, it's gonna be you.
This is Mad Max 2.
time since I seen driving like that, man.
The warrior of the road.
You're okay by me, pal.
Gotta hand it to you, Treasure. The last of the V8 interceptors.
Every day we get weaker while they get stronger.
You want to get out of here? You talk to me. Now, to do the job, I need some high-octane gasoline. Got yourself a deal.
You can run, but you can't hide!
You're gonna crash or crash through?
I was wrong about you. I'm sorry.
When it's every man for himself. And there's no place left to run. When all that's left is one last chance. Pray that he's still out there. Somewhere. Mad Max 2.